Today, I'm going to walk you through a reference that I found online, and we will be creating it block by block in Minecraft. We'll talk about block scaling, block palette, and some tips to make your build look amazing. Let's jump right in. So the first thing I did was go to Google and type in concept art fantasy house. And out of all of those, I found this one, which I found pretty interesting because I immediately had a feel for what blocks I wanted to use. And that brings us to chapter 1, block palettes. A block palette is just a fancy way of saying the blocks you use for your build. Think of it like picking colors and materials when decorating a room. For the main blocks of this build, I decided to go for smooth sandstone, some birch planks, and some stripped birch logs. As accent blocks, I like to come in with some stripped dark oak, some cyan carpets, and some oxidized copper and exposed copper for the roof. And that brings us to chapter 3, building. I'm keeping a small version of the reference image, top left, so we can always reference to it while we are building. The first thing I started to do is making the small staircase on the bottom left of the build, together with the retaining wall holding the little garden as well as the little porch in front of the door. Then after that, I came to the side to make the rounded shape for the little garden, connecting it to the house. I wasn't fully happy with it the first time I made it, so I ended up coming back to this a couple of times. Once I was happy with the shape for now, I decided to raise it up by one block and then adding the little stones that were on top of the reference image with slabs. And that also made it possible to block in where the patio porch kind of area would come. Then I grabbed some spruce fence gates to block in the little fence, and then also went back to add the little walkway that I think is next to the house on the left side. And that's an important tip for building from reference. Sometimes you need to take a little bit of creativity to kind of guesstimate where things would be and where they go, because often you'll only get one picture with one angle and you won't get every single angle to know exactly what to build. Now on the corner here of the building, there's this little jotty outy bit, and I decided it would be cool to use some sandstone walls together with the smooth stone to kind of get the shape going that we see on the picture. Now coming to the door, it has a little stone frame around it, which I also wanted to do with walls, but putting it next to the sandstone made it connect, so I decided to just ever so slightly widen the little porch area, which created way more room just to put in the door, which I guess just made the space look a lot better, and that way we were able to make the little door frame. After that, I started looking how the second story connects to the first story. And seeing as it connected with some wood slates, I decided to use these fence gates with an open position to create those little loggies sticking out. After that, I grabbed a stripped dark oak and made a little log going up and horizontal to frame the upper area. And doing this showed me that if I extended the wall to where I wanted it to be, the bend wasn't correct, so I came back to what we had before and quickly rearranged some of the blocks to make the shape a little bit better. And after I was happy with the shape, I came back to the wall, raised it up all the way to the top, and started blocking in the position of the walls of the next two stories. Another tip for building from reference is to every once in a while take a step back and look at your build from afar to see if the proportions seem right. It is very easy to be up close and be building and get used to what you're feeling the build is going to look like, but then when you step back it can look totally different. I'm currently blocking out where all the detail features of the house will be going, like windows or jotted out areas, just to see if I'm able to build those details at the scale that I'm building at. Also, another big tip is to not be afraid to tinker with something over and over again. I worked on this little garden area for at least 15 to 20 minutes just to get the drapes right. It's okay to keep coming back to something over and over again and tinkering with it till the shape is just how you want it. And I do the same thing again right here. I delete the full line of stripped dark oak and I add trapdoors. Then with the second story wall filled in, I come back and again block out the main features of where I want them to go. And then every once in a while taking a step back to see if the proportions are still correct. After blocking some of the bigger features in, I decided to come back with a few plant pots to make a little bit of decoration. After that, I grab a couple of trapdoors and make some window shutters. Then coming in with some ladders, I try to recreate the Tudor that is on the walls of the reference image. Tudor being the wooden slates on the white walls. And then again, it's time to tinker. And then once again, on just one window, I spent 10 to 15 minutes trying all different kinds of shape with the trapdoors, and nothing kind of seemed to fit. So I ended up coming back and just creating very simple vertical lines throughout the middle and doing the same for the small window as well. Just to later on come back, delete everything and replace it with fences. And that makes it time for the roof. And as you can see, I sped this part up to 5 times speed because I tinkered with this a lot and tried things over and over again, and I couldn't quite get why it was so hard for me to get this right. But I think it's due to the limitations of Minecraft and just the sheer size of the blocks and the scale I tried to building. I think if we scaled it up a little bit more, we would have had a little bit more space to work with, but I tried every single kind of block because the roof kind of has like a darker edge under it, so I wanted to make sure to get that right. And finally I ended up going with some trapdoors under all of the pieces of overhanging wood, so it would give that little piece of wood underneath the greenish tint. After that, it was time for the slope of the roof, which we can see gradually sloping up a little bit more. So I started off going steep and going steeper and steeper the more we went up. Starting off with some slabs, going into stairs, going into full blocks with stairs on top of them, and then going all the way to the top of the point. After that, I quickly filled in the entire roof, and I have to say I'm incredibly happy with how it turned out. After getting the shape of the roof right, I wanted to come in and do a couple of details, like the cloth on the side of the building, the little overhangs on the windows with trapdoors, the piece of road with the beautiful bushes on the side of the house, and a custom tree. After that, I quickly came to the roof, added some more detailing with colours and some chimneys and a tower, and everything was done.